Okay, so last lesson we talked about time signatures. I believe, yes, I think the notes I've not yet uploaded the notes onto the link for and shared to everyone. I think I'll do that as soon as this lecture is, as we finish this lecture. We'll try and not spend too much time today. We're just trying to understand more details as to regarding time signature. Okay, so we talked about time signatures last time, and we said it's made up of symbols that is used to denote the time or rhythm of a piece of music. Okay, and it usually looks like a fraction. So two numbers, and the upper number indicates the number of beats to be counted in each bar, while the lower figure indicates a type of music note that takes one beat or that controls the beat. Okay, so just to quickly summarize, so we'll notice that in a sheet music, we'll notice that the key signature um, starts at the beginning, appears at the beginning of the piece of music, and right after the key signature. We'll cover key signatures later on. Let me just get. So we'll cover key signatures later on, trying to understand what, at the beginning of the class, we talked about the keys. We talked about keys and A, B, C, the natural keys we have. So in the sheet music, a song is played on a specific key, but we will have a look at that later on. So the time signature normally comes after the key signature. It looks like a three, like a fraction, like we mentioned. Okay, now to read the time signature, we just now said the top number determines or tells us how many beats are in one measure or in a bar. Okay, I believe we now know what a measure or a bar is. They're both the same. The measures are called the same thing as a bar. Okay, a bar is bounded by two bar lines. Okay, and then the bottom number tells us what type of note gets one beat. What type of notes? We talked about the different types of notes we have. We have the whole note, half note, quarter note, semi-breve. So we can whole note, half note, quarter note, eighth note, or we have the semi-breve, the minim, the crotchet, the quaver, semi-quaver. So it tells us which of those takes or gets one beat. All right. So just to understand again, so this is the arrangement of the time signature on a sheet music. Okay, and we see that going by the rule of 4/4. Okay, we see that we can see here how many beats are in a bar. Okay, and then the bottom one tells us the note value, which takes one beat. So now if you see, this is our stave, and we have two, the 2/4 time signature. Okay, 2/4 time signature, we have a 3/4, we have a 4/4. Okay, so going by this rule, we were saying that the 2/4, the 2 tells us that we have two beats in a bar. So if you notice from that portion to, the beginning of the music that's the first bar, okay, and then that's the second bar there, okay, and that's the third bar or the measure, and this is the fourth bar or measure, and it continues. Okay, so it tells us we have two beats in a bar. So if you notice 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Now the bottom figure, the bottom number 4 tells us that the quarter note takes one beat. So normally what I quickly do is just to assume I replace this 2 with 1 and say it's 1 over 4, and that's a quarter. So it tells me a quarter note takes 1 beat, and we know how the shape of a quarter note looks like. That's the shape of the quarter note, okay, and it takes 1 beat. So in 1 bar, to complete this rule of 2 beats in 1 bar, we need to have 2 quarter notes in the bar. 2, 2, 2. If we have a whole note here, okay, um, we may not be able to have a whole note here because a whole note has 4 beats, okay. But if we have a minim here or a half note, we will just only have one minim or one half note because the minim takes a value of 2 beats. Okay. All right. Okay, so same thing with 3/4. We have 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, so it tells us there's 3 beats in 1 bar. Okay, and we have 4/4, a 3/4. So it tells us that the 4 tells us, okay, if we again assume that this 3 is a 1, it's a quarter note. Okay, so if we have an 8 below here, if we have a 3 8, it will tell us that we have 3 beats in the bar, but the one beat would be assigned to the 8th note, because if we have a 3 8 here, it would tell us that it's the 8th note, and then we know that if we see a 8th note in any of these measures, it tells us that takes 1. And then from there we can now determine, okay, if a 8th note takes 1 beat, what will a 16th note take, which is a semiquaver? The semiquaver would take half of that 1 beat. Okay, if we have a crotchet with a 3/8 time signature, if we have a crotchet, it tells us that, okay, we would have 2 beats for that crotchet. But in this case, we have a 3/4, it tells us that, okay, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay, remember we can have different combination of notes in this measure, but we need to make sure that when we add up the values of each note, it should give us 3. The total number of beats in this bar should give us 3. So now, if we have a different note in here, that's where we're now going into the rhythm of the song. The rhythm of the song, we're not playing as 1 2 3 1 2. We're not sounding every note at each of these beats. Sometimes we can have a slight pause or we can hold a note. So we're going to talk about that, which we're going to that deals talks about rhythm. Okay, so we have a 4/4. 4/4 we're used to a 4/4. 4/4 is normally known as a common time because most songs use a 4/4 time signature. But we'll talk about that later on. Okay, so because music is heard over a period of time, one of the main ways music is organized is by dividing that time up into short periods called beats. Okay, counting the beat is easy and often does not change throughout the music piece. So basically, if we have a time signature 4/4, we know that it's a constant of as a 4/4 beat. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and it continues in the music as long unless there's a specific change. So while we're still on that point, let me show you one example where the time signature does actually change in the music piece. Okay, let me just quickly. Okay, so here is an example of from our GHS, Gospel Hymns and Songs number 34. Okay, so constantly abiding. So now this is what sheet music is like. Okay, at the end of everything, we will, at least some of these terms and these notes are familiar to us. Okay, we see that's a rest there. So at the end of the day, we'll be able to understand this. At least by now, we are already understanding, what some of these symbols here mean. Okay, so that is our 3/4. So the stanza of this song is 3/4 time signature. So in each of this, so that's our bar is there and our bar is there. And if you notice, these are crotchet notes, and it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, but if you notice in the next measure, we have a minim, and then we have eighth note, a dotted eighth note, and then we have a dot, and then we have a 16th note. So if you add all the values of this, it will give us 3 in total. We did that exercise in our previous class. So now this is what I talked about the rhythm. So the rhythm across each measure, it changes. So here we have 1, 2, 3, and then we hold that note there, and we go faster across these two notes because the time interval between them is very short, like we just mentioned now. But we'll talk about the rhythm later on. So that's it. Now, as we go to the chorus of this GHS, we notice that it changes to a 4/4 time signature. So that's the chorus of the song, and then we have a 4/4 time signature. So it goes from 1, 2, 3, 1 from the stanza. Okay, it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And as you're coming to the chorus, you now switch to 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's one example of where the time signature changes in the music. But in most other GHSs, the time signature stays the same. Okay, so here we have hymn 32, Heaven Came Down, and we see it's a 6/8, and the 6/8 continues across even the whole sheet. Okay, and then I think the next half of it is okay, so that's the chorus. So in the chorus, you notice it's still the same 6/8, and we continue. All right. So yeah, this is a 6/8. So for example, this is another example. The 6/8 tells us there are 6 beats in a bar. Okay, and which note takes um, 1 beat. Okay, and then we just imagine that we replace the 6 with 1, and we say it's 1/8. So it's an eighth note, which is a quaver, and that would take 1 beat. Okay, and if you notice here, we have a perfect example of 6 beats in 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, that's the bar starts from there, and that's the bar, and we have 6 notes in this bar. And if you come here, if you do the calculations and check the values of this, we will notice that we have 6 in this bar. Okay, so that's the bar there. We have 6. This is quick one is this is a one beat, and we have a quaver, which is 2 beats. Okay, and we remember we have a dotted, so with dotted crotchet, so which means we add the half of this value to this value of the crotchet, so which is making 3. So 3 plus 3 is 3. So things like that. So if you notice, that's how, like a rule in music in general. Okay, so we'll go back to our presentation. So counting the beat is easy and often does not change throughout the music piece. Okay, now when you clap your hands, tap your feet, or dance, you are moving to the beat. Okay, so we're going to do a quick exercise. We're going to play a few music pieces, and then we will try to identify the beat in the song. So basically, will you hear a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2? Or will you hear 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3? Or will you hear 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, so we'll quickly do that exercise now. Okay, just a minute. All right. So we're going to play the first one, and then we will try and identify what the beat is in this signature in this song. Okay. So it's the 1 2 1 2. Is it the 1 2 3 1 2 3? Is it a 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4? Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to play this one. Okay. Did we all hear that?
Yes, we heard.
Okay. All right. So I'll play that again. Okay. So, Bolu, what did you hear? Hello, Bolu. It seems Bolu is not here. Praise. What beat did you hear?
1 2.
1 2. So you heard a 1 2. Okay, that's good. Sister Bokazi, what beat did you hear?
I would say, yeah, it's 2 bits. It's 1 2, 2 bits.
Okay, all right, let's play that
I think
again.
so.
Okay, so yeah, so that beat is actually a 1 2 beat. Okay, 1 2. 1, 2. Okay. Alternatively, one would um, identify a 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's a fast one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So it depends. So normally it's you in order to verify exactly what that beat or the beats are, you would at least normally have to refer to the times in the sheet music of which we have here. Okay, so normally if you have the score or the sheet music of that song we just played, it will give the information as to what time signature that is, and then we will verify. So it could either be a 2/4 or a 4/4 for the song we played now. Okay, all right, so that's good. That's a good trial. Okay, so we'll play the next one, and then we'll also identify the beats for that. Okay. Okay. All right. Is Bolu around? Okay. Praise. Uh, uh, what beats were that? Is it 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4? Should we play it again?
Yeah, I didn't really hear it.
Okay, I'll play it again. Sorry, this one. Okay, Praise. Can you? What beat was that? Or what beat did you hear?
3/4.
You had a 3/4. Okay, all right. Sasa Bokazi, what beat did you hear?
Is it not 1, 2? I don't know.
1, 2. Okay. Is Bolu there? Bolu. Okay, perhaps Bolu is not there. Okay, so it's a 3/4 or a 1, 2. All right. Okay, so it's let's make it one more trial. One more trial. We'll see. Let's see if we can get it again. Okay. Okay. Have any of us changed our minds? Or we still stick to our initial answer? Okay, so that piece is actually a 4/4. Okay, it's a 4/4 actually. That is actually a 4/4, and as you continue and as you go along, you'll be able to identify a song that's you know very much 4/4 and not a. You can also say it's 1, 2, like a matching song. Okay, but um, most, like I mentioned, most of the songs is a mostly a common time, or which is also known as a 4/4. But to verify normally is we use the sheet music, which will tell us. So yeah, so that's a 4/4 actually 4/4 time or 4/4 beat. Okay, so we'll do the second to the last one. Okay, I'm going to play that now. Okay, okay, so let's listen to this. All right. Okay, so Spokazi, what beats did you hear? Or what beat did you feel?
I think it's 3.
3.
1,
Okay,
2, 3,
that's
1, 2, 3.
interesting. Okay. Uh, Praise, what beat did you hear?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, is it? Okay. Is Bolu with us now? I see you came off and on.
Yes, Bolu is here.
Yeah, she's still on mute. Okay. Sorry, Praise. You said you didn't hear. Okay. Perhaps you're okay. Yeah. Okay. So that was a 3/3. That was a 3 beat a song. Okay. Normally it was a very it could have been for some people it might have been a 1 2 3 4. But it's actually a 3/3. So Spokazi is correct. So that's some exercises. So normally when you hear just any kind of music, as you listen, your gestures, your clapping, your fingers and your tapping and everything, it will give you an indication of what the beats are for that song. All right. So just also to give you an example of this one, constantly abiding. You notice the switch on this song. So there's a peace in my heart that the world never gives, a peace it cannot take away. Though the trials of life may surround like a cloud, I've a peace that has come here to stay. 2 3 1 2. Now we're going to switch. Constantly abiding, Jesus is 1 2 3 4. 1 2. So that's the switch, and some of those switches, I think this is a very interesting switch. So that's how normally the song switch. But most songs we have um, constant beats. Okay, so that's I just wanted us to go over that again. Now, I just also we're going to go to something about just a small understanding or just touch slightly on rhythms. Okay. Now, this I think you can see my screen now. So, this is an example of a rhythm. I'm just going to. So, this is what the exercise we did last time. We noticed that we have a 4/4 time signature. Okay, and we have 4 beats in the bar because each beat is a crotchet, and we have 4 beats in the bar still because each of these minims have 2 beats. And so if you notice across this stuff, the notes are different. And because the notes are different, we have that's what we would in just a brief explanation that will give us an idea of the rhythm of the song. Okay, so we have another example here. This is a 3/8. Now this is a quaver would take one beat. Okay, so the first one is 1 2 3. Okay, because each of these have one beat. Now notice we have a 16th, and we have that's a minim, or that's a quaver, and then that's also an eighth note. So we see the notes are different in each measure, but they all add up to 3 beats in one measure or in one bar. Okay, so I'm going to play this and we'll identify how the rhythm for this song is. Okay, so I'll quickly play that just to have an idea before we will go into that later on. Okay. All right. So that was 1 2 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Okay, so that was what we heard now, and that's what played out. So it was different pauses, different weights, different in quote rest, even though they're not rests in this sheet, but there were some holds and some pauses. The pauses are due to the value of the note and how much the note takes. So in every music, we need to ensure that we stick to the rule of how many what's the value of each note that you're singing or you're playing. Okay, so we'll play that again. Okay, so what we do is 2 3. Okay, so that's just a small example of what the rhythm is all about. Okay, so at some point we have constant notes being played, and at some point you just have shorter notes being played, and some periods of silence, but not actually rest silent, but it's just like we're observing the note or the values of that key. Okay, so are there any questions? Any questions that you would want to, that you may have? Okay, seems there are no questions. So just lastly, before we close off today, I just want to illustrate something very important. Now, we're going to talk about a 3/4. Let's start with a 4/4. 4/4 time signature, right? Now we know that one, this is the relationship between so we have a 4/4 time signature, and we need to understand the relationship between the values of the other notes in relation to the crotchet notes that has the one beat in a 4/4 time signature. Okay, so this is our crotchet. Okay, that's our crotchet. Now, and this will take one beat. If we now go down and we have a quaver, that will become 1/2 in a 4/4 time signature. All right. If we have again the 16th note, we'll split that into 2, and we have divided again. We have a 1/4. If we're going up and we find we have a minim, that would be 2 beats. Okay, running out of space here, but if we go up again and we have a semi-breve, okay, we would have 4 beats. All right. Now that being said, if we have a, now going to another time signature, if we have a 3/4 time signature, okay, let me choose a different one. This is actually the same. If we have, so that 3/4 is the same relationship. So wherever you see a quaver, it's a half beat. But say for example we have a 6/8, like we saw 6/8. Okay, so this tells us that the 6 beats in the bar, that's fine, but we're now focusing now on the values of each note. So say we have now, this is a 1/8, and remember now 1/8 note or 8th note has 1 beat. So our 8th note looks like this. It has a dot and it has a stem that goes like that. So now this has 1 beat now. Okay. So in the course of the song or in the music, we have now a crotchet. Okay. We will then have 2 beats. Then in the course of the music again, we have a minim or a half note. We will have 4 beats. In the course of the music, we have a whole note, and we would have what's that? 8. But remember, you may not have this, right? Because remember, in one bar and one measure, how many beats are you allowed? 6. So seldom would you find a whole note or semi-breve in this time signature, okay? Because we do not have the value is 8, and the rule or the time signature says that we only can have 6 beats in one bar. So hardly, if you see a 6/8, the highest note you would probably get, or you will get, you need to verify that, the highest note you will get is a minim. Okay, so now let's continue down going to more the lower notes and values. So we have, so after quaver we have a semi-quaver, okay, and this will take 1/2, okay. So it's important to note that in the 6/8 time signature, it's the semi-quaver or the 16th note that has 1/2, okay. But in a 4/4 time signature, the same thing, the 16th note takes 1/4, so it's different. So not all, so it's important to, like, first of all check what's the time signature, so that now when you're coming to either number one, verify, if you want to verify the values of each measure, or if you want to read or sing music, as we'll talk try to in another lecture we'll discuss, we need to understand what values these take. And if you notice, it's completely different. Okay, so let's quickly name this okay, that's semi, that's no, that's very wrong, that's minim. I'm not going to use the half note, I can just say half. Okay, and this is what the crotchet. that's a quarter. Okay, this is okay. So I believe if I don't write these out, we all understand what this is. All right. So normally we also may have a note that looks like this. We say, what other ones can we have? Yes, we can have a 3-2. We can have a 3-2 time signature. It still applies. So which one are we going to use? Doesn't matter. Okay, so we have a 3-2. 3-2 time signature. Okay, now same thing, 3 beats in 1 bar. That's normal. And then how many beats do we have? It's what note carries the beat? So this is 1/2 imaginary. So that's a half note, or the minim. So the minim takes 1 beat, right? So that's a minim. That's equals to 1 beat. Okay. If we go down the line and we see, or in the music we see that we tells us we have 1/2. Okay. If we go down, we have quaver. Go down again, we have that. Okay, so 1/4, and we have the 1/8. Okay, and if we have okay, and then we have a breathe there, it will tell us that we have 2. Okay, so in the music, if we're 3-2 time signature and we in 1 bar, okay, and we have our lines and spaces. How many lines do we have? That's a question for you to answer. Is it 5 lines or 4 lines? Okay.
5.
5. Thank you very much. All right. So now if we have a 3-2 signature and this is our measure, okay, so let's say this is our measure. Now we have a whole note here. Okay. I believe Bolu. Bolu, can you tell us what to complete this bar? What note are we going to add to this? What note are we going to add in this measure to complete it if we're dealing with a 3-2 signature, time signature? Okay. Chris, what notes do we need to add to complete this measure if we are dealing with a 3-2 time signature?
Minim.
Minim, thank you very much. So say our minim is going to be somewhere there. Okay, so we've done this before at the beginning, and I believe we're all aware and we know this. So that's where these things come in. Okay, so if we to have, say, look at that, for example, I think we have done it, and it's also good to at least refresh our memory. So there, we have a 3-4, okay, and this is a 3-4, and here we have, so that's 1 beat there, because it's 3-4, that's a crotchet, 1 beat, and we know that that's going to be 2 beats, because according to what we have here, okay, okay, we didn't do a 3-4, but it still applies. So that's 4-4 or 3-4. We have that's one beat, okay, and we need to add another one. That's what we have there. So all making 2 beats in the bar. So it's important for us to differentiate, between this 3/4, what it means. Okay, we have 3 beats in the bar. So if I am writing music by myself, okay, I need to understand that, okay, the next note I can add here, if I can I add another one, what other note can I add to complete that measure? And we always have to complete it. Okay. So it helps us to, identify that. And the governing rule is what note takes the 1 beat, and then from there we can work up and down like what we're doing here. So this is also important, and it will come in handy when we're singing. We get a sheet music for the first time, and we need to sing, and we need to identify how fast am I going to go over this note, or am I going to hold and stay on this note, and things like that. So we would look into that later on. Okay, so another example, which example haven't we done? How many music notes have we touched? That's 4, quarter, half. Okay, we do have a lot, various kind of 3/16. So this is where the 16th note takes 1 beat, and from there you can work up the arrangement. So this is very important. At least we know um, how to work around it. Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Okay, so today we've come to the end of the class. I think it was more of a recap of what we did, and at least I believe we understood much better. Okay. Okay, so if there are no questions, Bolu, you would round up for us. Give us a short word of prayer. Okay, praise. Can you close in prayer for us?